my upcoming frozen embryo transfer. So if you've been watching my vlog, you know that my cycle is scheduled for sometime around December 15th. So we have our phone call with the financial coordinator, I guess that's what you'd call her, and she's going to go over our insurance coverage, any anticipated out-of-pocket expenses, sort of all the kind of components of the cycle that we're going to have to be paying for or billing through insurance, so that we have an idea of what to anticipate. And I'm really hoping that it's not insane. We have out of network coverage, but it's still more expensive than if we had in-network coverage. So I actually don't even know if it's in-network or out of network, and I'm a bit nervous about that. So we're finding that out on Halloween, and hoping that it's good news. So fingers crossed on that front. I have my computer out because I can't remember all of this by heart, but I wanted to share with you all of the things that we're doing for this frozen embryos transfer cycle. And the reason why I want to share it is because it is a very, very convoluted, involved frozen transfer compared to most. It's going to be our second frozen embryo transfer to date. We've had 2 fresh and that 1 frozen, and we haven't had a successful pregnancy yet, or not even pregnancy, we haven't had a successful transfer. We haven't ever got a positive on a pregnancy test, never got a positive beta, nothing. So we're really trying to throw everything we possibly can at this one before we sort of undergo future options. And we can talk about that at some point, but basically I have sort of a list, my regimen, if you will, and the biggest thing that I'm looking at doing is sort of handling my immune protocol. So for that, I'm part of a board, and a lot of women had been talking about prednisone and love knocks, and because I have homozygous, I think that's the term, MTHFR gene mutation, it's actually really recommended that I do have that love knocks injection to help with blood flow to the uterus. Obviously there's specific tests you can do to check the blood flow to the uterus, but only certain doctors would do those, or know how to do those, or provide those, or believe in those, I don't know. So I had a couple doctors that I was looking at going and seeing. One that's commonly recommended is Dr. Kwok Kim in Chicago, and the other is Dr. Braverman in New York. Dr. Kwok Kim works with insurance quite often, so that's a really good option to go through, but she relies solely on IVIG, which is a blood product that's used as opposed to intralipids. I'm not sure, A, that I'm comfortable using a blood product, especially with all the Zika concern, and I don't know, it just weirds me out a little bit, I don't know. But on the other side, it's also very expensive, whereas intralipids cost, I don't even remember what the cost is of, it's like peanuts in compared to IVIG though, basically. So anywho, if you go to her, then you have to know that that's going to be a cost. And then Dr. Braverman on the flip side, I think he kind of works with a variety of different things, and he really tailors it to you specifically, but he has sort of a big price tag up front, and we just weren't willing to pay that. You know, it's not a proven science. It's definitely, you know, one of those things that's kind of like up for debate, and a lot of reproductive endocrinologists don't believe in it. So it's not that I don't believe in it or believe that he helps a lot of women, because I do know a lot of women who swears by what he do, or swear by what he does. But, you know, I just had to decide what was best for us. And our doctor was willing to do some of the things that Dr. Braverman and Dr. Kwok Kim tend to prescribe their clients. So why bother if he's willing to kind of do it for us? So anywho, that's kind of how we got to where we're at. But so we're doing love knocks injections. We're going to be doing prednisone, and the prednisone is also specifically for my immune system to help with any kind of inflammatory response or rejection of the embryo. It's kind of trying to calm my whole immune system down. So I will be taking that. I think that we're going to be taking about 20 milligrams daily. I don't know exactly on the start dates of all of these things just yet, but these are the things that we're doing. And then the intralipids that we're going to be doing, again, we did those with our most recent fresh transfer, and it was obviously unsuccessful, but we are going to try and do 2 transfers this time, or infusions this time. So we're going to be doing 1 infusion 10 days before transfer, and we're going to do another infusion that's 10 days before that. So essentially a 20-day before transfer and then a 10-day before transfer. So hopefully that helps us out. Obviously soy isn't good or recommended, especially for endometriosis, but this is a different kind of part of the soy that apparently, and because it's going to your bloodstream, not into your digestive tract, it's safe and fine. And Dr. Braverman actually is part of one of the threads of the community online that I regularly look up, and he has even said that that's fine. So I feel good about it. The other thing that we're doing is an intrauterine HCG wash. So we're going to be doing 500 IUI about an hour to, what did he say? 1 hour before transfer. So on transfer day, we're actually going to do sort of like, they're going to flush out my uterine cavity with a wash that has 500 IUIs of the HCG, which, if you know, is the hormone that's secreted when you have a successful pregnancy. It's a pregnancy hormone, or that's what it's called. So the idea there is that it supports a sort of implantation to happen by creating an environment that is already indicative of sustaining a pregnancy. So there have been some studies done around it, and has some promising results. So I don't know, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot at this point. We'll give it a go and we'll see. But and then on the notes it says Femera 2.5 milligrams once daily during the first week of E2V shots. I actually have no idea what any of that is. I'm thinking the E2V shots are my estrogen. I keep looking Femera up, and then I keep going, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then I forget what it means again. So I'll look it up again and I'll post it in the comments. And then the other thing is he kind of mentioned, but I don't know if we're actually going to go ahead and do it, was vaginal Viagra. So we're already doing progesterone probably via suppositories. I don't think we're going to do progesterone and oil shots, just because they're shown to be just as efficient, and the less shots the better for me, in my opinion. And this was his decision. He thinks that they're equally effective, and I don't mind dealing with the mess. I mean, it's easy for me. I don't really think it's a big deal. Some women obviously hate suppositories, but I'm like, whatever. So I just don't know how that'll work if we're also doing vaginal Viagra. It's a lot to kind of throw in there. And in terms of meds, that seems like it's it. I think I've covered everything. In terms of other things that I'm doing, obviously I'm taking vitamins. So because of my MTHFR gene mutation, I cannot take folic acid. I need to be taking methylfolate. And so I'm on a drug called, I guess it's a drug, a prescription. It is via prescription. I think that there is an over-the-counter of it, but it's called Methanex, and I think I'm on Fultanex, which is sort of like a non-name brand. Same thing though. So I'm taking that daily. I'm also taking calcium because of the Lupron Depot that I'm on right now. It causes bone loss, so I'm making sure to take calcium separately from my multi-day vitamin, but that has calcium and magnesium in it. And then I'm also taking a multivitamin, and I'm also taking vitamin D because I had a vitamin D deficiency, although I think most people do. So vitamin D is always something good to add in there. I am taking a fish oil. I am taking my inhaler daily because I have mild allergy-induced asthma. And I'm taking my daily probiotic. Now, the other thing that I have a question mark next to is antihistamine protocol. Because I'm taking prednisone, I don't think it's necessary that I take antihistamines as well. But because I have such severe allergies and I'm getting, allergy injections and everything, it may be something that if I'm feeling like I'm having some kind of allergy or allergic reaction or whatever, then maybe I might take it. But I need to talk to my doctor. That's something I haven't actually discussed with him. On the holistic end of things, I have done acupuncture in the past. I am not doing it this time. I don't like it. I don't want additional needles. I don't feel calm or relaxed when I'm doing it. So I've done it in the past. It hasn't worked for me. Not to say that it hasn't made my environment more welcoming, maybe it has, but I just don't think it's worth me stressing about, especially because I'm not going to be home and not going to be able to see the same acupuncturist. I'll be seeing someone different when I'm in New York during the transfer, so I'm just leaving it out. Instead, I'm going to be doing self-meditations, and I'm also going to be doing self-Reiki. So I took my Reiki certification, and I believe in energy work, so that's something that I do that I feel is less invasive and a more gentle way to shift energy in the body. I'm also going to be doing Circle and Bloom's meditation program. So I'm doing a self-meditation, which is sort of more like visualization based, but I'm also going to do, where you lay and it's a guided meditation, and it helps you think about the process and opens you up to everything in the process. So if you haven't heard of Circle and Bloom, you can look them up. They have one for like a fresh IVF cycle as well as a frozen cycle. And then the day before our transfer, we've heard rumors that having intercourse can help the environment. Because I'm having HCG uterine wash, I don't know that it's going to necessarily help us, but it's something that people say is helpful, so we're going to try it. And then we're gonna do modified bed rest. I'm gonna take it really easy for the next couple days after my transfer and not lift things, I'm just gonna do very, very little, frankly. I'm gonna watch some funny movies. They say laughter is good or helpful, so I'm gonna put on some funny movies and just chill. So that's sort of like on the holistic end of things. Food. Okay, let's talk about food. Okay, so for me, I am doing sort of an endometriosis diet mixed with paleo. I'm mostly trying to focus on getting my proteins, getting my vegetables like dark leafy greens. It's best to have those cooked apparently. Right now I'm not worrying about that, but come closer to my transfer, I am going to try and keep warm foods. But I am avoiding dairy. I'm avoiding wheat. I've cut back on my caffeine, but I'm going to continue to cut back even further. I do not eat red meat. I'm really limited on my sugar intake. I just have a little bit of honey in my tea, and that's it, mostly. And then, with the paleo approach, you're not supposed to have, or if it's the autoimmune protocol, I'm not sure which one it is now, I'm getting all confused. But you're not supposed to have like potatoes and corn and like cayenne or bell peppers. So I'm trying to steer away from those and instead focus on the vegetables and meats that I know that are safe for me. They don't really like you to have nuts, so I'm going to shift over to my coconut milk. I have had a little bit of almond milk, but I think that nuts are somewhat inflammatory, and so I'm trying to steer mostly away from almond milk and have coconut milk. And I'm making it at home, so it's completely organic and no kind of preservatives or anything. So overall, I'm just really, really trying to have as healthy and nutrient-rich diet as possible. So lots of veggies, root veggies. I have yams. You're allowed yams and sweet potato. And yams in particular are actually known as a fertility food. So pomegranate juice, you want to have 1 glass daily prior to your transfer. So that is supposed to help you with your lining being sort of a good thickness and supporting implantation, I guess. Or ready to support implantation, I should say. So it should be pure pomegranate juice, shouldn't have any sugar, it should be all natural, organic, obviously. So not the really delicious stuff, you want the really like fruit heavy, rich pomegranate juice. I love pomegranates. A lot of women don't like the juice. I'm sure eating pomegranate seeds is just as good. I've got a pomegranate in my fridge right now, and it's the season for pomegranates, so why not have fresh pomegranate instead of the juice? So I'll probably try and eat maybe a pomegranate a day or flip-flop between juice and pomegranate seeds. So that's before transfer. And pineapple core, if you haven't heard about this, that's to support implantation, and you basically take the core part because it's high in bromelain, and bromelain is thought to aid or support implantation, and you take the core, so you cut it into equal 5s and just the core sections, and you eat 1 portion of your pineapple core a day from transfer day. So that'll take you 5 days after transfer. Brazil nuts, you eat about 3 Brazil nuts is sort of the go-to number. I don't know where that number came from. I you know, don't eat like 10. I don't know if you need that many, but if you want 2 or if you want 5, I don't know that it's a big deal, but I have written down 3. Starting 2 days before the transfer, I'll make sure that I have 3 Brazil nuts. I might even start 3 days before transfer just for extra safety's sake. And then they say do that till about 9 or 10 days past transfer, and that's supposed to also help support implantation. So other foods that can reduce inflammation are turmeric, ginger, matcha tea, which is what I have for my matcha green tea latte. Really, if you're having caffeine, though, you want to have a very small amount and, you know, limit it as much as possible. Blueberries, wild salmon, dark leafy greens, and fermented vegetables. Those are all foods that are helpful in reducing inflammation. And if you have endometriosis, your body is generally in an inflammatory state, so it's good to try and reduce that as much as possible, because if your body's inflamed, it's not going to believe that it's able to sustain a pregnancy, and your body will probably just reject it. So you want to try and get your body to as healthy of a state as possible. So that's what I'm really focusing on. So the only other thing that I'm not the best at is making sure I get my 8 glasses of water a day. I love water. I don't really drink juice or anything else like that, but I generally just don't think of drinking water. So I ordered a big Swell water bottle. If you know Swell, they keep the water cold for like basically the whole day. And so I fill that up, and my goal is to get through at least 2. I have the big 25-ounce ones, so I'm gonna get through at leleast 2 of my water bottles a day. If I can get through a little bit more, then that's good. So along with that, I am trying to get as many meals or as much food as possible. I have a low BMI. I think I'm 17.3. I'm really tall. I'm 6 feet. So it's hard because my skeletal structure is quite thin, and I have a very natural high metabolism. So getting to the recommended BMI, which I think is 18.3 or 18.5, is going to be difficult for me, but I'm trying very hard to get up there. I have a vegan protein, but it's based with like some nuts and seeds, which aren't all recommended on the autoimmune protocol. So I have to be careful with that. I'm trying to figure out how just to get more protein or more vegetables or just more of whatever I can. You know, avocados are amazing because they're high like healthy fats. So things like that I can have as much as possible of, I'm hoping will help me gain a little bit of weight, but I've always been at the same weight, so I don't know if I'm going to achieve that goal. But those are the things that I'm working on. So I know that was long-winded, I apologize, but that's my protocol, that's my plan. Yeah, stay tuned, and thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe, like the video, follow along, and would love to hear about you and your journeys as well. So put a comment below, and I'll do my best to respond to each and every one of you. Much love. Bye for now.